Hi, and thank you for listening to Dream 10X Radio, where we interview people attempting to live extraordinary lives. Our twofold purpose is to both direct and inspire people bold enough to do the same. Dream 10X. Face your fears and make your life count. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Dream 10X. It's your boy JC
and Dr. Cable.
And we're trying a new format here, video, just for the heck of it. So we're gonna try video this time as well as audio for the podcast at dream10x.com. So how's it going, first of all?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
What's new?
I made a dragon. It's pretty cool.
What is that?
Can you see it? Well, it's going to be a dragon, so I'm working on the wings right now. And then I'm going to put like a material around the wings and then make little feet with the copper. And so it should be...
So you're practicing...
And then it's going to hang out right here on my Ren Fair costume.
Cool. So you're practicing blacksmithing.
I am.
You're learning blacksmithing skills. So what kind of metal is that?
That is just a regular mild steel 3/4 inch.
And how did you do it? How did you make it all twisty? And
I put it in the fire, I made it very, very hot, and I twisted it. And I hammered the shit out of it. So first you make the point on the tail. I mean, I'm learning, so this is not amazing, but so make the point on the tail, and then I did the head, and then I twisted this part, and then I twisted the other part.
Cool. And and it's all for your costume. You're going to Ren Fair next weekend or something, and
yeah, you're coming too.
Yeah. Planning on it. I don't know I don't have fancy metal to wear on me, but
I can make you something.
So this is what?
It's going to be the wings. So we're going to put material around it. But this is like the bones for the wings, and then the material around it will fit on here, and then we'll twist it around so it should stay up and be like a little dragon.
Cool.
That's what I've been doing.
Fun projects. Well, I got an iPad this week, and that's what we're recording this video on. I got an iPad Air. And I don't know, I thought it'd be fun to see if we could hook up a microphone too and everything and do a recording of our podcast. Seems to be working so far, we'll see. iPad Air, I think it's 4th generation. There's so many iPad versions out there.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I know, I'm allergic to technology too. So many iPads, I didn't know what to get, and I thought they would be like $100. They're so expensive now. They're like $700, $800, $1,300. But I wanted to try the Apple Pencil, because I wanted to go paperless, right? So that was one of my goals behind this. And so I got this, I guess it's called Pencil, Apple Pencil. And it's got some weight to it, so it feels ergonomic. It's cool. You can change modes just by tapping this flat edge right here. So you can turn it into an eraser or writing or drawing just by double tapping on that. So that's cool. But I can't figure out how to get it to work. Like, I can't write with it. I'm like, Apple, what? It's kind of cool, but I can't. I haven't been able to figure it out yet. So, anyway, it was $120 too.
Damn.
So it's not one of those things you can just take out of the box and it's just so simple to use. It's not simple to use at all. So I'm still playing with it. Hopefully, I can pick it up and get more adept at using the pencil. Or I may just go back to paper and pencil in real life. But anyway, this episode, we're talking about the book Scale. And this book was written by David Finkel and Jeff Hoffman. And I am actually having the good fortune to sit down next week and interview Jeff Hoffman and talk to him a little bit about some of his experience building and scaling businesses. So I'm really excited about that. And so I thought this would be a good episode to talk about his book, Scale, and just kind of go through it and talk about what's in it real quick and just get assimilated a little bit about what it takes to start a business from scratch and scale it to infinity and beyond. And just thinking about why it's important for everybody to be an entrepreneur. Do you have any thoughts on that? Why everybody needs to have an entrepreneurial mindset.
Absolutely. So even in business, if you're not a traditional sense of the word entrepreneur trying to start your own business, even when you work in corporate organizations, it's really important to have that mindset, because that's how you make change and you make growth and you have that, how can we do things differently? Mm-hmm.
Right. How can we do things differently, but also how can we make more money for the organization doing it differently, doing it better?
That's assuming you're a for-profit organization.
Yeah. So what in the government? You work in government. So how do you try to inculcate an entrepreneurial mindset in a government employee when there's no profit motive?
That is the ultimate question, isn't it? So a lot of so a lot of it is trying to make sure that we meet our mission, whatever that mission is, and the goals. And that's set by people way higher than we are. And so we do create different programs and things that will help, because I'm in leadership development and employee development, help our employees be the very, very best that they can be. And a lot of times it takes an entrepreneurial mindset in order to create the new types of programs needed for the future of work and the future what employees need as far as skills and mindsets and things.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of entrepreneurialism and innovation in government work, is there a drive to save money?
Yeah,
does that tie into that?
The whole "do more with less" is the one phrase that makes me crazy. So it's always about saving money and being able to reallocate money. Yet it's ironic because at the end of the fiscal year, any money left over, we have to spend to make sure we get it back next year.
Yeah,
so it's a very inefficient process in my opinion. But that's my opinion only. I have to say that. It's completely my opinion.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I feel like similarly in any organization, whether it's government, non-government, public, private, having an entrepreneurial mindset is very important for everybody. In order for you as an individual to maximize the amount of value that you bring to your organization, to your business, to your economy, and to the world. We all have an ability to grow gross domestic product within the country, and we can only do that as individuals or as entrepreneurs. So anyway, back to the book Scale. So Scale is all about providing a framework for business owners to help them grow from zero to exponential growth. And it provides a set of principles and guidelines that you can follow to help move your business from nothing to something. And they make the point, Hoffman and Finkel, early on in the book, that all businesses are pretty much the same. The mechanics for all successful businesses are basically the same. And so this book tries to look at, across the board, systematizing what are all those things that all successful businesses do in order to go through their various stages of a successful business life cycle to ultimately become, a huge company that the owner can walk away from and have that company run basically by itself without direct involvement from the owner or the founder of the company. And so from that perspective, I think it's a very interesting book. It's very manual-like. I've read it twice so far, and every time I've read it, I come away with some additional information. I'm sure I could read it 2 or 3 more times, and things would hit me differently. So it's all about systemization. It's all about providing a framework for any business owner to help scale their company, basically. And so when I read it, I'm thinking, okay, franchise. Companies who try to franchise their company try to systematize their success model, document it, kind of automate it, and then franchise it to other people who don't have any experience running a business, but have a higher chance of success just because they're buying a system that's already been well proven. And so that's what I was thinking. Any business owner needs to think about, okay, what am I doing to make money? How can I document that process? How can I systematize it so that I can turn it over to other people and have them run it, follow the playbook, have them do it, and I can step away and just be a consultant to my own company, basically. Part of the trap that I think many business owners, I don't know this from personal experience, but from what I've read and heard, I think a lot of business owners fall into the trap of basically creating a job for themselves in their new business. And so, they end up still working, trading their time for money and working 90 to 100 hours a week in a business that they created. And I agree with this book that that's not what you want to do. That's not your objective. Your objective is to highly systematize, highly automate, highly document your business model, your business processes, so that you're not selling your time for money as a business owner. You're selling your value. You're getting compensated for the value you create in your company.
Mm-hmm.
And I think page 16 really points this out. There's a quote in there. The world does not pay you for the hours you put in. It pays you for the value you create.
Wouldn't it be great if all organizations worked like that?
Yeah.
Instead of having to put in your hours each week on whether or not you've actually been productive, but I was sitting at my desk from 9 to 5.
Right.
So what if we got paid by the hours that are the value we brought?
Well, that's what employees are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
how
what
do we
you
change
do.
that paradigm?
Well, you don't. You're an employee. That's what employees do. You trade your time for money. But business owners shouldn't be doing that. They should be trading the value they create for money. So if you don't want to trade your time for money, start a business, follow this plan, and make sure you're being compensated for the value you create, not the time you put in. So I really like that quote. It's a very kind of subtle way of thinking about work and compensation, but I really love the idea of creating value. What am I doing to create value in the market? How am I helping the economy get better? How am I helping America get better because of the value that I create? Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to have that mental model, that paradigm. And so I've been working on that recently as a result of reading this book. So these predictable phases that they talk about in the book are, a level 1 company is your startup. They're trying to vet a business model. You don't know if you're going to be successful or not. Level 2 is when you actually start to realize some profit in your company. You start to get some management processes in place. You're starting to get a little more stable. And then level 3 is when you experience explosive growth in your company, and you really need a highly systematized, documented, structured organization that basically runs itself, trains itself, has patterns for growth, has a plan for growth. And at that phase, the business owner can start to walk away, and it should just run itself if you've done your job right as a business owner. And again, I don't have any experience with this. I'm just trying to learn from this book and get a feel for how things work in these as a business owner. Because I hope to be a business owner one day. I hope to be a successful entrepreneur and business owner one day. That's one of my dreams. That's why we talk about all this stuff on Dream 10X. So, another good point in the book was establishing a parking space for your business. A parking space being the one area that your business is really good at. Park your business there and win a gold medal. I love the way it puts that. Win a gold medal at that one great thing that you do. Be the best of the best in one area. And once you've won that gold medal in that one area, then you can expand into other areas and win other gold medals there. So I really like that. I've heard other analogies of the same thing, where you spin a plate, get one plate spinning in your business, and then you spin some other plates, and then you can spin other plates and get a...
I don't like that analogy.
No, gold medal?
Yeah.
I like the gold medal, yeah. Gold medal's better. Okay, so just wanted to cover the 7 principles discussed in here real quick in this book. Thought they were pretty interesting. The first one is build a business, not a job. And I was reminded of a quote from Tim Ferriss in his book, 4-Hour Workweek, where he opens up with a story of him starting a successful supplements business, but he's like working himself to death, and he has to walk away, and he's trying to confront his fear about walking away from the trap, this employee trap that he's got himself in this business that he created. And so he goes through this fear exercise that he continues to this day, evidently, where he just walks through various scenarios and says, well, what's the worst that can happen if I just walk away from my business? What's going to happen? What's the worst? Am I going to go bankrupt? I'm not going to die. Possibly. I could recover from this if I worked really hard later on and got myself back to where it was. Those kinds of things. And he decides that the fears that he's thinking about are probably not going to come to reality. So he goes ahead and takes the leap, and he walks away from his business. And it turns out his business is more successful without him. and he's able to travel around the world for 15 days or 15 months or something like that. And his company pays him essentially to take that free vacation. So principle number 1: build a business, not a job. Don't build a job for yourself. So that's really good. Principle number 2: build on the stable base of systems. So build solid systems, automated systems that your business can follow. Your team, make sure you get a good team around you. Build a good team, and internal controls around money, around people, around hiring processes, that kind of thing. Principle number 3: understand why your customers really do business with you. So you may be selling something to your customers, but you may find that there are other things that they need that are somewhat related to what you're selling, that if you don't ask them, if you don't talk to them about what they need, you won't find out that there are other things you could be selling or doing for them. So find out what your customers really want. Principle number 4: create the right strategic plan and reduce that plan into a series of rolling one-page quarterly action plans that help you execute and get results. I really like this. I do this in my own personal life. Do you look at me as head of the household?
No, I do not look at you as head of the household.
No?
No.
Well, I consider myself head of the household. And so I write a quarterly business plan
for you.
where I want to take the family.
That's great.
Did you know I did that?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now that I'm not head of the household, shit, I'm not going to take you anywhere. But I like that. I think it's good for individuals to write a quarterly action plan. Where do you want to take yourself? I guess, in my case. Where do you want to take yourself in 90 days? Oh, this is revealing about our relationship.
No, we're equals. There's no head of the household.
Okay. Well, I'm just... Okay. We're going to get a divorce after this video. Okay. Anyway, I feel it's important that even individuals, not just CEOs of companies, not just heads of companies, to write a quarterly action plan. Where do you want to go in the next 90 days, and refactor your vector accordingly. I think it's important.
What's your vector?
I like that. Yeah. How did the rest of that go? Oh, surely you must be kidding. Principle number 5: learn to read the world so that you can build for tomorrow's marketplace. So, yeah, keep apprised of current events. Where are things going? Where is technology going? Where's the Federal Reserve going? Keep your eye on current events so you can help direct the business that you're working in accordingly and stay current. Principle number 6: remove predictable obstacles to growth, pillar by pillar. So sales is one of the critical pillars of an organization. Without sales, you basically don't have any income in your business. And so that one right there really scares me. Sales scares me. Does it scare you?
And from what perspective? Like, what scares you about it?
Talking to people.
Oh my God, people!
I know. Well, also in being disingenuous with people. I don't want to have to be disingenuous with anybody to make money. So I've always felt like you have to be disingenuous to be in sales, and therefore, if you have to do that, then I can never be successful in business.
Why is that your mental model?
I don't know. I think a lot of people share that, though. I don't think it's just me.
How do you change your mental model?
Okay, so I'm working on that, and one of the books that one of my friends pointed out on LinkedIn is Sales for Noobs by John Sterling. So I'm reading this book, and he's helping me a lot. I just started. I love this book so far.
Yeah.
Really helping to change my mindset about sales, and so hopefully I'll get over that fear and that current concept of what sales is after this, or change my paradigm anyway. Another obstacle to growth is operations. You have to have your processes in place. A cool thing about operations that I pulled out from here is, learning management systems is one, and you're well versed in LMSs. But building expert systems and a universal business system was pointed out in here. That was brand new to me, but I love that idea. So basically, an expert system is an electronic version of documented processes and procedures for how to do pretty much anything in an organization. How to do sales.
Yeah.
How do you approach a customer?
Yeah.
What do you say? How do you handle rejection from a customer? It's all documented. It's scripts.
We always call them SOPs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Same thing.
It's
yeah.
SOPs. Yeah. And all of these things build up to your universal business system, and it's just an electronic database, basically a wiki of information that's pertinent to your business, how to run it, how to execute things. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
So that was a really valuable takeaway from this book.
And even better, doing it from a micro-learning perspective.
Yes.
So doing
Yes.
it like short videos on, this is how you talk to a customer, here's a demo.
Yes.
Yeah, and then, yeah.
And that feeds into your LMS.
Exactly.
Beautifully, simply put, I really like that idea that came out. I thought that was really valuable. Operations, obstacles to growth, finance. Do you know where your money is going when it comes into the organization? Are you sure nobody's stealing it? Because that happens a lot. Keep your eye on the money from the time it comes into your organization to the time it goes into your bank account. Make sure it all adds up.
That happened
Critical.
at PVP. That's why professional veterinary products
It
went under.
happens a lot of places.
There's the CFO had been there since the start of the company, and it was a brilliant company, hugely profitable, and all the employees were highly engaged. It was an amazing place. The CEO ended up retiring, and he started this company out of the back of his trunk. He literally went from hospital to hospital and sold products out of the back of a trunk, and then it became like this medium-sized sales. Literally,
he grew it
hands-on
off of
sales.
Yeah.
And then, so he ended up retiring, and then they had a new guy take over. And then they hired another CFO, retired this guy, and there was lots of embezzling going on. The CEO took the company in a totally different direction, and it just went under. And it was just very sad. So.
Did the founder get a payout?
So part of his retirement was embedded in the company, so he lost his retirement as well.
Oh.
Isn't that just tragic?
Yes.
So as an entrepreneur, it's something to think about. Where's your retirement money come from when you do want to step back from the business?
Yeah. So again, controls, finance, watch your money. Even if you leave the company and you have some financial ties to it, watch the money. Your team is very important. How you recruit, how you retain, how you compensate, how you keep. Well, that's retain, being redundant, but your team, very, very important there. And then executive leadership. How are you growing your leadership within the company, bringing them up through the ranks to run the company the way you have planned out and the way you expect it to grow and to function in the future. So those are that's principle 6 and the removing the principal obstacles to growth there. I just thought that was a really clear way to look at it. These are the 6 pillars that every business has got, and you need to guard those. And very simply put, makes common sense. I like it. And finally, principle number 7, you do have the time to scale your business. Even if you feel like you're working 100 hours a week, you still have time to figure out how to do more. And the book points out Pareto's principle, 80-20. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
So 20% of the time that you put into your company is actually generating 80% of the value. So when you think about that way, you definitely have. You're spending a lot of time doing stuff you probably don't need to be doing. And I know that's true in my life. Like I spent the whole last year cutting another property's grass so that took up 3 hours of my Saturday, almost every Saturday during the summer or more. Probably 5 hours. Just stuff like that. There's stuff you don't need to be doing. It can be done you can offload that stuff. So there's, A-level stuff that you should be doing, B-level stuff, C-level stuff, and D-level stuff. Get rid of the D-level stuff right away. Give it to somebody else. Then work on the C-level stuff. Can you give that stuff to somebody else? And just focus on your A-level and your B-level stuff. So, I thought that was valuable information. There's a lot of good stuff I pulled out of this book. I highly recommend it. Jeff Hoffman and David Finkel. And if you don't know who these guys are, Jeff Hoffman is an extremely successful businessman, entrepreneur. He founded Priceline.com. He started out as a software engineer, which is one thing I really love about him. He made the transition from being a software engineer to being a highly successful entrepreneur and businessman. He was CEO of ubid.com, redtag.com. I haven't heard of that one.
I don't know that one.
He was also a successful so after he did all these things, he became a successful music producer and a movie producer. Even produced a very low budget movie that made a lot of money.
Cabin Fever is really good.
Made
I
a lot
liked
of money. So really interesting guy. The fact that he could be successful in all these completely different niches, I think attests to the fact that there are these common principles that you can follow in any business and be successful. Now, I don't think it's it's not just mechanical things to follow to be successful. There's a certain other secret sauce that he's got that I'm trying to learn from. I'm trying to figure out what that secret sauce is, but definitely points out the mechanics in this book. So learn the mechanics, and then tune in next week when I reveal my interview with Jeff Hoffman. Maybe we'll learn some secret sauce. Yes. So tune in for that secret sauce. The other author I want to point out, David Finkel. He actually signed this book. I bought this on Amazon.
Oh, that's cool.
I got his signature on it. Next week I'm going to get Jeff Hoffman's signature. But David Finkel, another highly successful entrepreneur, and he runs a mastermind in Maui. So maybe one day if we ever move to Hawaii, we can join his Maui mastermind. So that's this week's podcast, Reading Scale. Next week, hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll get this book read and we can talk about sales for noobs. I'm really interested in learning more about sales. I wanted to say one thing about sales. I started working many moons ago, and I lived through the dot-com burst bubble in 2002. And I learned then that so I was out of a job, looking for a job at that time, and everybody wanted salespeople. Nobody wanted tech people, nothing. Tech people were like, nobody wanted them at that time when the internet bubble collapsed. Everybody wanted sales. So I learned at that time, sales is the skill you need to have to survive in down cycles. So, and it's a skill you need to have even when things are going well. Any organization is looking for people who can bring in money to an organization, and you got to have sales skills. So I'm very excited to learn more about sales. So with that, we'll see you next week. Next week with an interview with Jeff Hoffman. Take care. Hi, I just wanted to wrap up on our podcast about the Jeff Hoffman, David Finkel book on book Scale, just to let you know that last week I was down in Orlando with my mastermind talking with Brandon Adams and Jeff Hoffman and some of the other guys and people in our mastermind about entrepreneurship and growing and scaling businesses. And I had the opportunity to actually sit down with Jeff Hoffman. It was pretty funny. I was really nervous, and there's a picture of me sitting next to Jeff Hoffman, kind of a behind the scenes picture, and I look like I'm about ready to jump off a transport ship on the beach of Normandy. That's how scared I looked. It's pretty funny. I'm going to share that picture just to show you how scared I looked. And yeah, so it was kind of fun though to go through such a, for me, it was a scary experience. I was afraid I was going to forget my questions and look like a bumbling idiot, which I probably already did, but I got through it and had an awesome interview. I think I got so much out of my experience last week, a two-day mastermind in Orlando last week, and just wanted to share that experience. I'm going to share the picture, and I also came away with some personal introspection and growth. And one of the things I started thinking about there is how often I've had to reinvent myself throughout my life and my career, and how difficult that is. Starting over again and to learn something that you've never learned before, and to try to become proficient, if not, to use the term, a gold medal winner in that particular thing, takes a lot of work and a lot of time. If you follow Malcolm Gladwell, so Cindy's in the background doing her forging. She's making a lot of noise. She's working on her dragon that she talked about. The forge is right here. You can see the fire coming out of it a little bit. But anyway, like Malcolm Gladwell says, in order to become proficient or an expert in something, it takes like 10,000 hours. So after you've become an expert in something, it's really hard to try to learn something else because you got to start that process all over again. But that's the way I feel right now in learning entrepreneurship. I feel like I'm starting from scratch again. I don't know much about it. I have to have a learner's mind and be prepared to put in the work that it takes to become proficient as an entrepreneur, especially if you're someone who doesn't have the genetic predisposition, which is something that we talked about in our interview with Jeff Hoffman, which I'm hoping to be able to share with you all at the end of the year by December. So one closing note along those lines of reinventing yourself. I was just reading the Wall Street Journal this morning, and I like reading the obituaries because it's a reflection on people's lives. Mostly these are successful people that they put in the Wall Street Journal, but there's a obituary about Robert Haas, who was an investor. He lived from 1947 to 2021. He was a successful investor, and after he made a lot of money, he kind of changed what he was doing and became an aerial photographer. And it's kind of funny, he was apparently scared of heights, but he ended up liking to take aerial photography by leaning out of a helicopter door and just filming animals and stuff from heights, which I thought was really interesting. And one quote that he gave that I really, really liked, he said, "If you only live once, you might as well live a few lives." And I really love that. So I think it speaks to reinventing yourself in your one life that you have, living many different experiences while you have that one life, and I love that. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast video, and we'll talk to you next time.